All right, let's bring in our guests. First, I think everybody's going to want an explanation. I'm sure Jill's going to blame us, but Jill Abramson, thanks for coming back. Where have you been? Is this our fault or your fault that you haven't been on this show since, I don't know, the Roosevelt years? Why haven't you been here?
Well, I've been watching on YouTube because, I don't feel I need to take up everybody's valuable time on two-way asking my questions or making comments. So I haven't been gone. I just haven't been visible to
All right,
you.
how have the shows been lately?
I think good.
Good.
Lately, I'm in midterms in my other career as a college professor, so I haven't been as loyal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you
But,
for coming
but I'm
back.
with you. I'm with you.
We love having you on. Thank you for being here. Beverly has been on regularly and is also a fan favorite. Beverly, thank you for being here. Tell folks turning in for the first time, what do you do for a living? What your connection to public policy politics is?
I have a company called District Media Group where I work full time helping people prepare for media interviews. So lots of members of Congress, senators, CEOs, policy activists, getting them ready for shows like this. But I do have one question, Jill. Your dog is adorable. What's your dog's name?
Magic.
What is it?
Magic.
Magic.
Magic. Like
Magic.
like
Oh,
Irvin Magic Johnson.
yeah. Magic
He-
is a star tonight, I just have to
yeah.
say.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna tell him.
all anybody's doing is looking at magic. Beverly, thank you for coming back. Very grateful to you. Frank, I believe, is making his two-way debut, if I'm not mistaken. Frank, am I
That's
right about
correct.
that?
Yeah, that's
Welcome in, Frank. I'm so happy to see you here. Frank writes an extraordinary Substack, which she'll tell you about in a moment, and I recommend to you. Probably some of you say, I got too many Substacks in my life. Well, if that's how you feel, kill out three of them and add Frank's. You won't regret it. Frank is. Imagine if Jill, don't take this the wrong way. Imagine if Tom Edsel just calmed down a little bit.
right.
That would be Frank's Substack. Just Tom Edsel, calm down just a little bit. Frank, tell folks first about your Substack and then your connection to public policy, elective politics.
Yeah. So my Substack is called 2026 Path to Persuasion. It looks the title suggests, it looks at from a Democratic perspective. It looks at the next year's races and eventually 2028 races, and some of the messaging challenges that the party's confronting and that our candidates are confronting, and tries to decipher paths around some of those challenges. My broader career, for 40 years, I ran a democratic and progressive direct response fundraising and communications company. Worked for a lot of Democratic candidates and progressive groups and charities. And besides the Substack, I have a Monday kind of memo called the Monday Memo Message on Memo. I'm sorry, Monday Memo on Message, which is for more broadly for nonprofit organizations, less political than the Substack, about sort of how nonprofits can communicate more persuasively.
Frank, who's the best president in your estimation since Reagan, and why?
Best president since Reagan. You know, I guess I'd give it to Obama, but probably Obama because I think he carried off a pretty incredible social change just by getting elected, and like every candidate, every president, probably since Reagan, his presidency itself was kind of hampered, partly by his own strategies and partly by the polarized political environment that may be intense now, but has actually been a feature of our politics for decades.
Yep. All right. Last one, just so people get to know you, because not everyone's had the benefit I have of reading your subject. Who's the best Republican president since Reagan and why?
Best Republican president since Reagan. I guess Bush.
Which one? We had a couple.
Yeah, the son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I think he handled 9/11 incredibly well. I think he lots of policies of his that I would disagree with, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think he was a decent guy and did a decent job in the presidency for most of his run.
All right, last one, and you don't need to answer this at great length because you could write a book about this. Give me in like a paragraph. Why did Trump win in 2016?
Biggest reason,
Yeah.
because the Democratic Party abandoned working class voters for decades.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, okay, thank you all for being here. Let's talk about the China thing, because again, as you know, I think it's the biggest story. Here's the Wall Street Journal headline. Somebody called me after the rare earth minerals thing happened and said, will the Trump administration retaliate? And I said, I don't think so. I think they'll just tell Xi to back down. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong. Trump hits China. This is the Wall Street Journal for those of you listening to the podcast. Trump hits China with additional 100% tariff, citing restrictions on rare earth elements. President also says he will impose new export controls on critical software products in response to Beijing's move. Here's the president's Truth Social post about an hour and a half ago. This is number 8, Sam, please. This goes on and on. It has just been learned that China has taken the extraordinary aggressive position on trade and sending an extremely hostile letter to the world stating that they're going to, effective November 1, 2025, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. It goes on. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not other nations who are similarly threatened, starting November 1st, 2025 or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China over and above any tariff they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Obviously calls into question whether the president and Xi will meet, as I said before, on the sidelines of the APEC meeting in Korea. Markets did not like this. Here's number 9, please. Markets plummet after Trump-China tariffs threat, says CNBC. S&P 500 declines the most since April. And here, courtesy of our friends in the Bahnsen Group, are the market results, all in the red. Dow Jones down almost 900 points, S&P down almost 200, NASDAQ down over 800. Just hideous. Jill, what is this all about? Where does this go? What does this mean for America?
Well, it could go two ways, pretty obviously. One would be the cancellation of the meeting and an escalation in a hostile relationship that the USA still has with China. Markets are not going to like that. We can expect to see more declines. I don't know. I mean, the 100% tariff just seems kind of unrealistic. I was going to say nutty, but so extreme that you almost think it's not serious.
Yeah, it's a little cartoonish, 100%. Frank, are you alarmed by this, or you think it'll all just work itself out before November 1st?
I feel like we've had a year of expecting cataclysmic events every time Trump did something incredible on tariffs and not quite seeing them come to pass. I suspect that may be what happens here again. It seems like and it's not just not just a taco phenomenon. It's just that I think events. Everybody seems to sort of go to the brink and then back off a little bit, and then go to the brink and then back off again. I'm guessing that will happen again.
Okay, Beverly.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concerns in the past few months when the trade deals were first being discussed with other countries, how catastrophic it may be. But of course, Trump has used this as a leverage point to make certain statements to hopefully find negotiation. So I find what he may put out in the public is different than the meetings going on behind closed doors. So I think we look at this and just say, we don't know. All of us hope it doesn't get to this point. But is this just part of how Trump views tariffs as purely a negotiation deal? And I'm someone who is not a fan of tariff wars, of course, but also tariffs in general. But I will say, if he's trying to get better trade deals, there is an avenue for that. It's just whether or not it gets to this place where maybe at some point China says, I'm not negotiating anymore. This is what it is. Do people call us bluff at some point? And we just have to wait.
Okay, thank you for that. Moments ago in the Oval Office, the president spoke to this. Now, the market's already closed, but I'm sure he knows the markets went down and doesn't like that. So the president was asked, and maybe we'll have the video for you.
We have a bite ready, Mark. If you want
Okay,
to play it.
let's play. I don't need to read what the president said. Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald John Trump, on China and a possible meeting with Xi. Please roll tape, Sam.
You canceled your meeting with President Xi, and
No, I haven't canceled, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But, they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do. And it was shocking. I can tell you, Howard and I and Todd, Scott, we were all speaking about it before. And we said, where did that come from? It was just... That was out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, they came up with this whole import-export concept, and nobody knew anything about it.
Cozy Earth makes products viscose made from bamboo. You've no doubt, I suspect correctly, that I'm currently wearing my Cozy Earth pants, but they're so much more than pants. Yes, they are. Cozy Earth bamboo sheets, very comfortable, very cooling when it's hot out. Very warm in the colder nights, a kind of magical material. The Bubble Cuddle blanket is a fan favorite. You can buy that too. A combination of comfort and style. And then, of course, all the bedding comes with a 100-day return, 10-year money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, rather. And right now, you can get all the Cozy Earth products, 20% off. Pants, joggers, shirts, everything. 20% off if you go to CozyEarth.com. Put in the promo code two-way for 20% off, because home isn't just where you live, ladies and gentlemen. It's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. Again, CozyEarth.com, promo code two-way. Thank you for your attention to the pants.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and two-way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.